Hello. This is Jay and welcome to the channel. I am 28 years old and I make $82,000 a year working as a cybersecurity consultant. Before diving into the weeds, I wanted to explain a little bit about the channel. I created this channel partly to document my financial journey, partly to also talk about finance, and another part to do something creative. Finance is often a topic that many people find hard to share, and it is a struggle in my life as well. I want this channel to be my creative outlet to talk about finance and how it relates to my life. In this video, I will talk about my monthly expenses. Before I do that, let me give you some context to my salary and my expenses since cost and salary can vary depending on location. 1. I live in a medium cost of living city in Pennsylvania. The median home listing price of the city I live in is about $450,000. 2. I work a full-time cybersecurity job and I have been working for 6 years. I also worked remotely for most of my career, which is something I am truly grateful for. A lot of jobs have been moving towards work from home, so that has been really awesome to see. 3. I am currently single and do not have any children. 4. I would definitely say that I'm more of a saver than a spender. Whenever I make my purchases, I want the purchase to be meaningful. I don't want to buy something that will only be used once and take up space in the house. When buying products, I usually look at reviews and get the best bang for the buck. But for things like paying for dinner or buying groceries for my parents, I usually splurge a little on those occasions. So there may be spikes in my expenses depending on the frequency of those events. I have my monthly expenses based on last year's number broken down here. I used last year's number to average out the fluctuation that happens month to month. I also haven't calculated my overall expenses this year yet. I usually do that at the end of the year. I can do a more recent expense video in the future. My monthly income is $5,690 after taxes. Rent is my biggest expense and I spend $600 a month for a one-bedroom apartment. You might be thinking, why is it so low? It's because I live with my brother. I get along well with my brother, so it's been fun sharing the apartment with him. I can definitely afford to live alone, but there are a lot of positives from this living arrangement. We split up all of the chores. I have someone there when I'm dying from sickness. My deal with my brother is that he pays half of the rent and I will cover everything else. That includes groceries, toiletries, utilities, and occasional meals outside. My next biggest expense is food. I spend about $350 a month on food. This includes both eating out and groceries. I buy groceries for 2 people's worth, so this amount is probably on the lower side. I usually find different ways to save on food, and it's almost like a game to me. Some people may find it tedious, but for me, it's been fun. For example, I use Uber Eats promotion codes and combine it with any credits I get from credit cards. There's also a DoorDash promotion where if you use a World Elite MasterCard, you get $5 off your order. This works on pickup orders, so you can technically get free food if it's cheap enough. With the crazy inflation nowadays though, it's just a nice discount for when I order takeout. There's a whole bunch of other little tricks as well. My third category is discretionary spending, but I included a bunch of things within it. For this category, I spend $175 a month. This includes shopping, travel, annual fees from credit cards, buying stuff for parents, and anything else that's not already included in other categories. I have credit card fees because I do credit churning to get super cheap vacations. I redeem the credit card points for booking hotels and flights, which are usually the biggest costs of vacations. $175 a month of discretionary spend is an average for the year. Like some months, I may spend nothing in this category and then the next month I'll spend $350. Next, my utilities are $135 a month. I pay $40 for Verizon and the download and upload speed is 300 megabits per second. Good enough for my usage. I only have electric bills since my rent covers heat and water. It averaged out to $70 per month last year. My phone bill is $25. I use Cricket Wireless and get about 10 gigabytes of data. The data is more than enough for me and the coverage has been really good in my area. I spent about $86 per month in car expenses. My car expenses are pretty low because I already paid off the car a few years ago. I also work from home, so gas isn't something I pay for often. Other car expenses are registration, inspection, and maintenance, which is averaged out for the year. Next is insurance, which accounts for medical, dental, car, and renter's insurance. This adds up to $100 per month. I use high deductible medical insurance since I contribute to an HSA. So that's been pretty cheap. Around $50-ish per month. Car and renter's insurance came as a bundle and was also around $50 a month. The abnormality here is the car insurance. I used to have State Farm, which cost over $100 a month. I switched to Nationwide Insurance, which charged me based on the miles I drove for the month. That was a huge money saver since I work from home. The biggest chunk in the chart is investments, but I wanted to talk about this last since it's technically not an expense. But it is an explanation for where the rest of my income is going. I usually invest $4,244 per month. I have been maxing out my 401k and IRA the last few years. The rest of the money that is not accounted for is either invested in my taxable brokerage account, or has been taken by Uncle Sam in what is known as tax. I started reading and learning about personal finance in the last few years, and FIRE is a personal goal of mine. Hence why investing is a big focus in my finances. I just stick most of my money in a total stock market index fund or a S&P 500 index fund and call it a day. I do not have any debt since my car is paid off and I do not own a home. As for student loan debt, scholarships had covered most of my college tuition. I paid off the $10,000 of debt I did have as soon as I could once I started working. And there you go. That is how I spend my $82,000 salary based on my monthly expenses. I do find that my expenses fluctuate up and down $1,000 to $2,000 from year to year. I don't worry too much if I spend over or under for the year, since life comes in ebbs and flows. The main thing I want to avoid is lifestyle inflation. Also, this is my personal finance, so it is what works for my lifestyle and my life goals. I grew up without having much, so it is a lifestyle that I am accustomed to. I am able to treat myself to things here and there whenever something good happens. I've been in a situation where I did not understand much about finances. I grew up thinking that investing is gambling and saved money mostly in banks or in cash. My interest in personal finance started when I discovered a blog made by Mr. Money Mustache. Then I started reading about other people's financial journeys on the personal finance subreddit, or all of the FIRE subreddits. This led me down a rabbit hole of personal finance content. I found Graham Stevens' YouTube channel. I started listening to the Choose FI podcast. I read a book called The Simple Path to Wealth. I find reading and listening to other people's journey is very motivating, and it gives me an overarching goal to work towards. There may even be tips or tricks here and there that I can incorporate in my journey as well. I just hope someone will be able to find some value from my videos as well. This channel is a personal project of mine in learning how to exercise my creativity and learn new technical skills. Learning and talking about finances is really fun for me. I also liked creating charts and tables for my finances. Starting the YouTube channel just takes all of that and combines them. There is a lot more for me to learn, and this will be a documentation of my journey with money and with life. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in my next video.